Hey everybody, it's Sarah again. I'm sorry if my voice is like going out. I don't know what happened. I went through like this coughing fit a few minutes ago and now all of a sudden like I can't talk. But I wanted to kind of do a secondary product review on the Reptilinks. I haven't really done an update in that in a while. It's been like a couple months, I think. Excuse me, I just got this terrible like tickle in my throat. But I've been using Reptilinks for about 6 months now, and I think that my thoughts on them have changed a little bit in a good way. As many of you know, I actually really do like the Reptilinks. I like them a lot. For one reason, aesthetically, they're much nicer to have in your freezer than rodents. It's much nicer to like look in your freezer and have like these nice little sausages, and they're in vacuum sealed bags, and you can just stack them on top of each other and they look fine, and they look like normal something that would be in the freezer, as opposed to these like rodents that are covered in fur and have poop coming out of their butt, and their eyeballs are frozen and exploded, and they're in these weird like positions, tongues out, and they're like looking all dead and stuff. Yeah, like their like feet have broken off in the bags, and it's just so much nicer than rodents, just in general, like aesthetically, especially as a girl. I mean, I'm not a very girly girl. Like, I mean, I put on this makeup for this video. Like, I wouldn't wear this makeup in public, probably. I mean, I would, but I mean, I'd wear it in public, but if I'm just going to work or something, I probably would not be wearing makeup. Just in general, I'm not a girly girl. So rodents don't bother me, but I know that they bother a lot of people. They bothered my mom. They bothered my dad. They bothered my brother. Like, I'm so happy to be living on my own. I mean, you can see my lovely air conditioner over here. Isn't this great? And I put the cat litter box in the window for blocking a little bit. It's not doing a very good job, but whatever. So in general, aesthetically, they're much more appealing than the actual rodents being in your freezer. The second thing that I wanted to go over with the Reptilinks as why I like them as opposed to rodents is the smell. I don't know if you've ever like smelled rodents, but they stink. I think as far as like live goes, I mean, I don't ever feed live. Any of my snakes that I've ever wanted live over frozen, I just sell them because I'm like, you're not gonna eat here if you're only gonna eat live rodents. It's just not gonna happen. So you might as well go somewhere that's gonna feed you live because it's not gonna be here. But yeah, if you feed live rodents, obviously mice stink so bad. Like mice, they're just terrible. And rats stink too. I mean, don't get me wrong, rats stink too if you raise rats, but mice stink worse. Now I think that frozen rats smell worse than frozen mice. But it doesn't matter. You're still thawing out dead rodents. Like whole dead rodents that smell like poop and urine, and it's disgusting. So, yeah, that's the second thing. And I think that's another, like, part of aesthetics, sort of. It's sort of in that, like, category of not really nutritionally important, but as a human being who is feeding these snakes, it's nice to have something that's not so disgusting. The next thing I wanted to go over with the Reptilinks, the third thing, is how the clutches themselves have been doing, that the females have been laying. There's obviously, it's a lot easier for the snakes to absorb the calcium from the Reptilinks because the Reptilinks are whole ground rodent or whatever else. There's rodent bird, and I think venison as well. And of course, this is just from a snake breeder's point of view. There are other Reptilinks, so if you have lizards or something that eats vegetables or a mixture of meat and vegetables, they also have a meat and vegetable mixes, different meats, different vegetables, and fruits, I think. I think there's some fruit mixes in there too. So if you have like a bearded dragon, for example, who would eat like vegetables and stuff on top of meat, then they have things like that too. But the clutches that are actually laid from the females that have been eating Reptilinks, the shells I have noticed are thicker. There's obviously, I don't know if there's necessarily more calcium in a link than there would be in a rodent. There probably is. But at the very least, it's easier for the snake's body to access that calcium because it's already ground up. So the clutches actually have thicker shells from the females that have eaten Reptilinks while they were gravid. Or at least during breeding, or both. And this has caused some good things and some bad things. I've noticed that in a few females that have bred over multiple years, and this is their first year on Reptilinks, I've had a few females that give me clutches that are very low quality in the past. And it's not that the fertility is low quality, it's that the shells are thin, they stretch, they just, you know, you can see through them, they have those like little star patterns on them. They've always been sort of like low quality eggs. This year though, those same females that gave me low quality eggs before gave me much nicer pearly white eggs this year. Although, on the other side of the coin, females that always gave me good eggs and that were on Reptilinks this year gave me eggs that had super thick shells. And for me, this is not a huge problem because I do cut my eggs open. I know that's like a huge like taboo for some people, like you do not do that. You wait until the first one pips before you start trying to cut any eggs open. I get it. I completely understand like that side of the argument. And you know, I in general, like I tell people, do not cut your eggs, like in general. However, this year, a female that gave me good eggs before gave me exceptionally good eggs this time. I noticed that one of the babies, around the time that they were getting ready to hatch, one of the eggs started to kind of turn dark. And I thought, well, you know, maybe it's just getting ready to hatch. So I waited a couple days. And then finally I noticed that there were just no veins in the egg anymore after, you know, like handling them. And so I decided, well, it's either like this close to hatching or it's dead. So I opened it up, fully formed baby, perfectly healthy, appeared to have drowned, appeared to have tried to get out of the egg, but couldn't because its egg tooth broke off, or just in general the shell was too thick for it to get out. So I went ahead and cut the rest of that clutch open, and then they came out like the next day, or the same day. Some of them came out the same day. So I'm assuming that probably that was them, you know, they were trying, they needed to come out at that point. So I think that in general it's good to have easier access to the calcium than what the snakes usually have. But I think that there are some exceptions with this particular female in this particular clutch. It was detrimental to one of the babies. I mean, it actually killed the baby. Sorry, turning my air conditioner off, it's kind of loud. But it is so hot in here. This air conditioner is set at 80. Like, it's set at 80, and it just now came on, so it means it's just now above 80 in here. So yeah, it's hot in here. But whatever, I don't have any other air conditioning, and I'm used to being in an 80-degree room. I have a snake room, so whatever, it's fine. I'm just sweating a little bit, it's a little warm. But it's okay. I'll live through the rest of this video. I did want to go over also, though, the females that took links versus the ones that didn't when they were coming back from laying. I have probably, this year I probably had 10 females lay eggs. The females that laid eggs before breeding and during breeding, during being pregnant, they all gave me super good eggs. They all gave me fertile eggs, they all gave me, and most, like the majority of the eggs were fertile. This year has been a really bad year for infertiles, and not just for me, for a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people on Facebook contacting me saying, you know, I just had the worst, like, infertile issues with my females this year, and it's the same with me. I had the same problem. But all the females that were on links regularly, whether it's 100% of the time they were on links while they were breeding and gravid, or at least more than 50% of the time, they all gave me either perfect clutches or near perfect clutches as far as fertility goes. So I think that in that way it's a good thing. And also, after laying eggs, the females that would eat links after laying eggs bounce back really quick. The first female that I had laid eggs early this year, I did not brewmate her. But she's back. I mean, she was on Lynx the whole time she was gravid, and shortly before she was gravid as well, like during breeding and things like this. And she, after she laid her eggs, she was still at her like original breeding weight because she just ate well and she ate Lynx, and so even now she's perfectly fine, you know. And then I had like a few other females, 4 or 5 other females that typically ate Lynx and still do. And they're bouncing back really quick compared to the ones that are only taking rodents. So in general, I think that there's definitely more nutrition, there's more calories in each link. Overall, I found out that they just seem healthier, they seem more active, they seem more alert than the ones that did not eat Lynx, that are only eating rodents. I've noticed just in general, like all the ones that are taking Lynx are a little more healthy, a little more active, a little more like there. And I'm not really sure 100% if they seem more there because I want them to seem more there, or because I'm handling them more often than I'm handling the non-link feeders. Like I'm not, you know, there's always that kind of like happenstance sort of element to all of my observations, but I am just at least telling you what I've noticed. This weird like gnat right here, it's really annoying. I don't even know, it's just flying around. But anyway, next I want to talk about the babies that have been on Lynx as opposed to the babies that have been on Pinky Mice. And I'm sorry that I keep like pausing the video and skipping, but like every time I feel like I need to cough, I pause the video. This gnat is still flying around my face everywhere. It's super annoying. But yeah, so as a lot of you know, I've been doing this. Like half of my babies are eating Pinkies this year, half of them are eating Lynx this year. The half that have been eating Lynx, I think I might have mentioned this before, but the half that are eating Lynx are they're gaining weight more consistently. They've all gained about the same percentage of weight overall. And the Pinky feeders, I've noticed, some of them are a little bit bigger than the Link feeders, but the majority of them are still smaller, either equal in size or smaller than the Link feeders. And I've noticed this, like in general, like the ones that have been eating Lynx have been like consistently all gaining about the same amount of weight, whereas the Pinky feeders, like some of them are over here and then they gain weight and they lose weight and they gain weight and then, you know, they gain like a little slower, then they gain weight quicker. It's just like really sporadic as far as, you know, like how they're gaining weight. So have the Lynx been better? That's really the question with the babies. I don't know that they've been better with the babies. I still haven't been using them with the babies long enough to tell whether or not they're better so far. I have noticed that it seems like the ones that are on Lynx poop a lot more. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. They tend to, it seems like they're pooping out as much as they're taking in, to me. I mean, when I see their poop, it's almost like their poop is like the same size as the length they took in. So it almost doesn't feel like they're actually gaining anything, but they obviously are because they're growing. So, yeah, it's still kind of a work in progress on like the babies, but I've definitely, at least so far, noticed a huge difference in the the health of especially the adult females that have laid eggs and things like that. Let's see. I've also been trying to feed my yearlings the like mini Lynx. The problem is the mini Lynx are like too small for the yearlings, but the next size up of Link I think is the 8 to 12 gram, and it's too big for my yearlings, and my yearlings are just now turning a year old. So for the past 6 months the mini Lynx have been too small, but the 8 to 12 gram Lynx have been too big. So what I've had to do, and it's actually been working with some success, what I've been doing is actually taking fuzzy mice and stuffing them with a Link. I've been taking a mini Link, drying it out, thawing it out, drying it out, and putting it, actually cutting the belly open of the fuzzy mouse, and then just like stuffing the Link in there. And disgusting. It's disgusting, messy business. But I have noticed that my yearlings have probably doubled in weight in the past 6 months, which is a lot, I think. They've gone from like 30 grams to 60 grams-ish, all of them. Whereas before they were gaining weight a lot slower before. Even on fuzzies, they were gaining weight slower than they're gaining weight now on, with the stuffed fuzzies, I guess is what I could call them. I recently tried the lynx with the boas. I have 2 boas. I have an adult female. She's almost an adult. I mean, she could probably breed right now, but I'm probably not going to breed her until next year. And I have like a sub-adult male that's like 5 feet long, 4.5 feet, 5 feet long. Silly me, I bought the 50-gram lynx for the male, and then 100-gram lynx for the female. The female could probably eat like 6 of those 100-gram lynx. I mean, they're just nothing for her. So as much as I really want her to be on lynx, I will probably keep her on rats just because, and, I mean, she's going to be eating rabbits too, so, like I said, as much as I want her to be on the lynx, it is going to be super pricey to feed her 2 or 3 100-gram lynx a feeding, where I could just feed her 1 rat or 1 rabbit, so probably not going to do that, even though I think she could benefit from it. She loves it. I mean, the first time I offered her a lynx was today, and she was right on it. Same with the male. The male could probably eat 100-gram lynx though, so I'm going to probably feed him those instead. I will probably continue to feed him the 50-gram lynx that I bought, but he could definitely eat 100-gram lynx, no problem. So I'm probably going to do that with him. I've been feeding my adult male corn snakes lynx too lately. And some of them, I mean, there's still a few holdouts. There's still a few holdouts, like, in both male and female, and, like, all of the different species that I own, except for, both of my boas are fine with lynx. My house snakes are fine with lynx. 2 of the 3 of my prairie kings will eat lynx. And the majority of my corns will eat lynx. All of my spotted pythons will eat lynx. But it's pretty much just like 1 prairie king, and then like half, like not half my corns, but probably like a good third of my corns won't eat lynx. But in general, even the males that are taking lynx seem to be a little more active. And like I said, I'm not sure if they seem more active because I check on them more, and so because I check on them, they're more active. Like, I'm not really sure, but regardless, I think that they've just overall been a good thing, and they're a lot easier in general to like take, to have in your freezer. They take up less space. They're just as good or better for the snakes than like rodents. One thing that I will say though, and it's still a complaint of mine, and this also kind of ties into the weird like size gap between the mini lynx and the 8-gram lynx. There needs to be like something in between the minis, which I think are like 2 to 3 gram lengths, and the 8 grams. And I don't know what they're gonna have to do. They need to do something though, like, because I have this gap there that, like, I'm not gonna feed them 5 minis, but yet they need more than 1. It's kind of like it's not easy, I don't know, to deal with that. But my biggest complaint still with the mini and micros is like the comparison between them and pinkies, and like how easy the pinkies are compared to thawing out these lynx. The bigger lynx, I can just put them in a plastic baggie and throw the whole baggie in hot water, and as long as they don't get wet, they're fine. They thaw in hot water. And it takes them about the same amount of time to thaw out as it would an adult rodent. The mini lynx, though, you'd not only have to thaw them out, but you have to dry them out. Because if you don't dry them out, then they fall apart, and it's a mess. So what I've been having to do is take them, thaw them out, and then put them under like I put them on a paper towel, and then I put them under a heat lamp or like by a space heater or something, and then I have to like wait. So it's like I take them out of the freezer and then put them in the plastic baggie, throw them in the hot water, wait like 5-10 minutes. And then I take them out of the plastic baggie, put them on a paper towel, put them under the heat lamp, and then wait like another 15 minutes, and then come back and then turn them because one side of them will get dried, and then the other side of them will still be super wet, so I have to turn them over. And then you have to keep checking back every like 10, 15, 20 minutes. And it takes like a half an hour to an hour to actually get these lynx ready for the snakes to eat them. Whereas if you had a pinky mouse, like I could literally just throw them straight in the water. They could be in there for 2 minutes, and then I'm ready to feed. So I like the mini lynx, the mini and the micros, as far as their nutritional content, but they're so just not, they're not easy. They're definitely more difficult. I mean, like I said, whereas I would normally only spend 5 minutes preparing and feeding the baby snakes, now I have to spend like a half an hour to an hour to wait to feed the baby snakes. So it's not that there's anything wrong with the lynx themselves, it's just the inconvenience of time that I'm not used to. I used to kind of put baby snakes, like I would separate days where I would feed different like sections of snakes, like I'd feed adults one day, the yearlings and sub-adults the next day, and then babies one day. And I would always save the baby feeding for a busy day, like a day where I was doing other things. So if it was a day where I had to work, but I would get home from work early usually, I'd feed babies that day, or something like that. Now I have to like kind of fit babies in my days off along with everything else, because instead of being able to just like feed them in 5 minutes, it takes an hour, like it takes everybody else. So that's kind of my only complaint with the minis and micros. I'll probably still keep using the minis and micros, but what I may end up doing is only using them for stuffing for other sizes, for bigger rodents, for like the fuzzies and for, you know, whatever else to bridge the gap. I'm thinking it's hard enough in general for me to get baby snakes to eat pinky mice, and the lynx are even harder. So what I think I might actually do is, excuse me, like I said, I've had a coughing fit, had coughing issues all day. What I may end up doing is actually getting everybody, all the baby snakes, to eat pinky mice, because that's hard enough, like I said, and then stuff the pinky mice, stuff half the pinky mice with link, and then don't stuff the other half. That way I actually don't have to wait for the lynx to completely dry out, because I'd be probably cutting the lynx in half, because a whole link is hard to stuff in a pinky. I've tried that already. It sucks. Even like the micros, I'd have to cut them in half. And then stuff them in the pinky. It's still more nutrition than just pinky. And I think that it'd be easier to get the babies to take it that way. But overall, the only other thing I guess I want to say is that I've been using a lot more of a variety of lynx lately, and that has definitely helped. Before, I think I was only using rabbit, and now I'm using the rabbit, the quail, the rabbit-quail mix, like quail-chicken mix. I've been using some venison and chicken, or like something, like, I don't know, there's whatever's on sale last, that's what I bought. The variety, I've actually kind of been trying to keep track of that, and which snakes will take what flavor, for lack of a better word. Because I know that some snakes, they'll only eat the quail, or the quail mix, like the quail chicken mix or whatever. Some of them will eat any of them. They'll eat, the venison, or they'll eat the quail, they'll eat the chicken, they'll eat rabbit, whatever. And then some of them are only going to eat rabbit, and then some of them are only going to eat the venison. Like, I'm trying to kind of get an idea of who's going to eat what, who will only eat what, who's picky for what. And that's kind of annoying a little bit, but at the same time, I guess, like, there are snakes that are picky for, like, only hairless mice or whatever, or they'll only eat white mice or whatever. So it isn't any more of an issue than that. I'm going to end this video now because it's been almost 25 minutes. This is one of my typical videos, as opposed to the last video that I just posted, which was only like 10 minutes long. And for some reason it's hard for me to talk for less than 20 minutes. I don't know why. Sorry about that. But this is my secondary product review. of the Reptilinks, just to give you an idea of like kind of updating now that I've been using them for 6 months or more, as opposed to before where I only used them for a couple months. And thanks for watching if you've gotten to the end. Even if you hadn't got to the end, still thank you for watching, and I will see you next time I decide to make a video. Thanks!